My name is Eustace Asangawa, and I'm a Products Applications Engineer. And I'm very happy to tell you about crypto authentication solutions. These are solutions that help protect your return on investment and also limit your liability. But before I tell you about these solutions, I would like to tell you what these solutions can do for you. Are you ever worried about clones in the market taking away from your revenue, or devaluing your brand, or undervaluing your brand? Or maybe it's a problem where you offshore your building, you offshore your manufacturing, and there is overbuilds out there, so that you have a lot more product in the market than you own or than you know of. Or do you have products that you have sensitive firmware inside that you need to protect? Okay? Or do you have a business model where your product, you license it with other people to do the manufacturing, and then you have a deal there that you need to manage. You need to manage the licensing deals on there. Or do you have manufacturing as subcontractors that you need to control? Maybe you need to control the quality of, or the accuracy of configuration information that gets programmed into products, or the way things get programmed into the product, or how the product gets set up. Or maybe you are just worried about managing warranty, making sure that there are no warranty claims that are not real. Now, all of these are problems that authentication solutions can help you solve. Not only problems of not trusting the other person, maybe there are problems where people who buy your products and through legitimate use may be misguided to buy components that merge with these products and can cause harm into the future. So for example, if you have a product that is working with, say, a battery, and they buy a cheap battery. Now, if the battery catches fire, I guarantee you it's not the cheap battery that will gain the bad press. It's your product that will gain the bad press. That is a problem of liability. Are you worried about problems like that? And a lot of consumables falls in this category. The next kind of problem is that of performance. You want your system to perform in a particular way, but there are always people who think they can make the system perform either faster or gain more features out of the system, make it work smarter than you originally designed it. But what they don't put in mind are all the steps that you put in place so that the system continues to function securely and also function reliably for a very long time. So are you worried about issues like that? I can go through a long list of different issues here, but the reality is these challenges are not new in the market today. They have been around for a long time. And many people have tried to find solutions to this. A lot of times, they adopt a cryptographic algorithm, build a solution in software in order to build security for solutions like this. Unfortunately, fundamentally, software does not place itself in such a way that you can build a really strong solution that you continue to protect your product for a long time. These are some of the lists of the kinds of attacks out there that gives people ability to go in and gather information from your system that will help them either cheat or subvert the operation of the systems. An attack, for example, algorithmic attack, is a classic attack where somebody tries to guess how many times they can gain the right password or the right key. In software, they can do that every day, all day. They can even program scripts in computers to do that for them. Software does not lend itself to protect against this kind of an attack. It takes sophisticated hardware to do that. And if you go down the list, you see protocol attacks, microprop attacks. These are all things that software are not set up to help or to solve. Only true hardware can do it. Now, the solutions that we are going to present you, we are demoing them on the station right over there. So after this presentation, please feel free to walk over. We'll give you some demonstrations on there. But one thing I want to highlight here is that all these solutions are using latest industry techniques in terms of algorithms, methodologies, in order to put them together. We have solutions based on SHA-256. For people who are familiar with cryptography, this is one of the strongest algorithms in the industry today. In the classic attack that I mentioned earlier, we call it brute force, which means you try to guess how many times you can pass a password in order to gain the right password. The claim today is that with SHA-256, there is no computing power on Earth today to break that algorithm. And we are proud to say we are the first in industry to bring this algorithm in secure hardware, in secure silicon as an authentication solution. And we still hold that claim. We are still the only in the industry. The next algorithm, encryption algorithm. When it comes to encryption, this is the latest and the strongest that is trusted by cryptographic experts and governments around the world. On this one, we've taken it, not only building it in a secure solution, we've taken it a step further to build it in a form that is familiar to most of you here. We build it as a serial EEPROM with authentication capabilities added onto it. Why is this important to you? In your system that you have today, you can take out the serial EEPROM that is in there and put this solution on there, and without doing anything, you can get it to work the same way as it used to work in the past. So the additional work that you need on there is just to enable the security features and have it do authentication or encrypt information or give you security benefits on there. Now, if you're working in open systems, which means systems that you have to work with other people that you may not necessarily trust, there are cryptographic methodologies there that you can work with them and not have to share a common secret. The problem with sharing secrets is that you have to trust the next person, otherwise the secret does not remain secret. So we have algorithms that work in that kind of a scenario. Now, when it comes to hardware, we take steps further as well. It's not just having the algorithm in hardware, but having it in secure hardware. For this, we have 15 years of experience that we've been building security solutions and staying ahead of hackers. Hackers are not lazy people. They are constantly moving. We have to stay ahead of them. And we have been in that way. So we build tamper-resistant features into the hardware. At the top here, you have an IC from us. At the bottom, you have a typical IC that does not have fortifications on there. You may not see much on here, but on the list, you can see features like active shields over the chip. Why is that important? People cannot remotely analyze information within the chip in order to gain keys outside of it. We encrypt memories and buses. Memories is just a storage of information. Somebody can deprocess the chip and dump out memory. But when they dump it out, can they make meaning out of it? By encrypting it, we make sure that nobody can make meaning out of content in the memory. We make data independent from execution. Why is that important? Okay, if I were to analyze a security chip, for example, depending on the amount of time it takes to complete an operation, I can guess whether it's an encryption algorithm or a hash algorithm. And even so, I can guess whether it's a public key, private key algorithm, or it's an AES, a symmetric key algorithm. Why? One is mathematically very intensive and it takes time, the other one is not. But if we make data operations independent of execution, we eliminate those kinds of attacks. You have tampers. Tampers is an ability to monitor the environment in which the chip is working. So we monitor voltage, we monitor temperature, we monitor frequency, high, low, light. Why is that important? Well, if somebody is not able to gain information out of the chip, one thing they could try to do is subject the chip in a harsh environment, like too high a voltage, too low a voltage, or too high a frequency. And the goal is to get the chip to misbehave with the hope that it can get some information out that will become meaningful to them. With all the security solutions from Atmel, we build tamper monitors that can monitor those situations and take an action as easy or as simple as going into reset or shutting itself down to as far as erasing information within the chip. We have random numbers, true random number generators. For people who appreciate random numbers, getting a true random number generator is not easy. And why are random numbers important? With random numbers, you are able to make operations different for every execution, so nobody can capture information and replay for later benefit. And we have additional information on there, or remove information like identification of the die and the chip. So if you're worried about somebody knowing where you're sourcing your information, even if they remove the plastic packaging of the chip, there is no information or identification information on the die. And here's the kicker. A typical security challenge requires different levels of solutions. So for example, if you want to prevent a knockoff, you implement a solution that requires authentication. That same product may require firmware protection on there and may require another protection that helps you manage licensing agreements. These are all different features that you may require in a single product. And if you think that if you have 16 different applications or 16 different challenges, you need 16 different chips, I have good news for you. Here you only need one chip. So with one chip, you have an ability to embed different keys on there and deploy different security solutions on there such that you have all the gambit of protection that you need on there. Just one chip. It brings down the cost very much. All those solutions, we have a flyer over here on the next spot, right across here. When we finish here, please come over. We can tell you the different devices on there. And we also have demonstration kits that we can give you demos here right now. But these are kits that are also available through our normal distribution channels and also Atmel.com that you can get and start your development on there. One thing to mention, with all these solutions, we've made it very easy for anybody to develop with it. How? We've abstracted need for knowledge of cryptography because we have built a solution on top of cryptographic algorithms who made it turnkey solutions, so you only send a single command like authenticate or do an encrypt. You don't even have to know about the algorithms.